The NBA buyout market is approaching on March 1st, and as of right now, there are multiple candidates that could become available. For those who don't know what the buyout market is, basically it's a time in the NBA where NBA teams can waive their players, ultimately making these players become unrestricted free agents, where they can then sign with anything that they want to, usually for a veteran's minimum deal to complete the season, with the most popular candidates usually going towards a championship roster. With the NBA trade deadline just passing, there are a lot of potential buyout candidates that right now multiple teams are targeting. And for this video, we're going to be talking about the most popular buyout targets and of course players that could become available. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a very special episode of Easy Buckets. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Soom and I make basketball videos every single day. So if you're new, be sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on post notifications to not miss any of my upcoming videos. If you watched this video and you loved it, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate it. It would help with the channel a lot. But without wasting any more time, let's talk about the best buyout candidates in the NBA right now. The first candidate is Kent Bazemore of the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Lakers have been very vocal on saying that Kent Bazemore is going to become available. And during this year's NBA trade deadline, the Lakers tried trading away Kent Bazemore as soon as possible. With Bazemore still being 32 years old and in his prime right now, he still has some decent value in the NBA, and any team looking for a veteran presence to being a shooting guard small forward to be a 3-and-D special, Kent Bazemore could still contribute as he has been in the NBA for a long time now. But with the Lakers completely removing him from the rotation, putting players like THT, even Austin Reeves and Malik Monk ahead of him, Kent Bazemore does not want to be in LA, and of course I do believe he should get some playing time somewhere else that he deserves. The next buyout candidate is Eric Bledsoe of the Portland Trail Blazers, and during this year's NBA trade deadline, Eric Bledsoe got traded from the Clippers to the Portland Trail Blazers in the big deal where Norman Powell got sent to the Clippers. Ever since getting traded away from the Bucks a few years ago, Eric Bledsoe's career has kind of taken a downhill, and honestly, he's becoming more of a veteran point guard that isn't a starting caliber one anymore, simply more of a leader and a player off the bench to being a scoring spark plug and even a decent playmaker. Eric Bledsoe used to be a star in the league, and with the Portland Trail Blazers right now speaking complete rebuild, I know Eric Bledsoe does not want to be there. But of course, if Eric Bledsoe does get bought out, he would have to take into account of his guaranteed portion deal of next season of $4 million. But it does seem likely that Eric Bledsoe will be on the move, because so far, ever since the trade, he has still not even played or suited up for the Blazers. Next up, we're going to be talking about Goran Dragic of the San Antonio Spurs, and actually, we just got some news that Goran Dragic is becoming available, and the Spurs and him just worked out a buyout, which means right now he's going to be a UFA, an unrestricted free agent, and there are many teams targeting Goran Dragic for his veteran leadership, experience, playmaking, and volume shooting. As of right now, we're hearing so many rumors that the Dallas Mavericks want him, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Warriors. Goran Dragic has a list full of contenders that want his assistance as a backup point guard, and oh boy, I do believe he's one of the more popular buyout candidates that genuinely could be on the move. Next up, we got Derrick Favors of OKC. OKC has one of the worst records in the NBA right now, and it's simple. They're in a full rebuild mode. They have a bunch of future draft picks, and sooner or later, we're going to see OKC use those draft picks, whether it's a trade or simply just in the NBA draft. But with Derrick Favors being on a one-year contract right now, playing on a rebuilding team, being the center off the bench, you can tell when you watch Derrick Favors plays, he's not that interested, and of course not as locked in as usual. So of course, I do believe Derrick Favors right now, being an NBA vet and being in the league for a very long time, he deserves to play for a championship squad and being a backup center that could be beneficial on the interior and some decent on-ball defending. He's a great screen setter, and of course his assets and skills would benefit any point guard in the NBA looking for a dominant big as a backup role player. Derrick Favors is a very popular target because OKC is not doing good and they don't want to make him walk for nothing, of course get something in return. Next up, we got Gary Harris of the Orlando Magic. Him and Terrence Ross are both on this list together simply because the Orlando Magic right now literally have the worst record in the NBA and they're speaking of full rebuild mode. Of course, the Orlando Magic, ever since trading away Nikola Vucevic, Evan Fournier, you can simply tell they're not as good as they used to be. And as of right now, with them struggling to get a single win and of course losing game after game, they do have a future though with Jalen Suggs and Cole Anthony, and especially when talking about Gary Harris, he does not belong there on a rebuild. because Gary Harris used to be on a contender with the Nikola Jokic Denver Nuggets, and of course after being traded then, you can kind of see Gary Harris's career take a slight downhill, but I do believe he's still young, has a lot to offer, especially defensively. He's a popular target via the buyout market right now for a lot of contenders. Going back to the Lakers, we're going to be talking about DeAndre Jordan, their backup center right now, behind their backup center of Dwight Howard. They got Anthony Davis playing the center position, Dwight Howard as their backup. In some games, Dwight Howard doesn't even play, and then DeAndre Jordan is the backup behind Dwight Howard. As of right now, the Lakers have said that both Cam Bazemore and DeAndre Jordan are available and tried to actively and heavily trade them away during this NBA trade deadline, even if it's for a draft pick. But of course, no NBA team wanted DeAndre Jordan, which is why a buyout is coming very soon with the Lakers. The Lakers seem to be focusing more on a small ball lineup, putting Stanley Johnson at their center, or even targeting other centers right now in the buyout market. So of course the question is, which center would they target that can make them better than they already are? Next up, we got Paul Millsap, who was just traded from the Brooklyn Nets to the Philadelphia 76ers. As of right now, Paul Millsap is getting ready to join his new team in Philly, but the question is, with them already having big men presence simply of Joel Embiid, and of course the other centers on the team, Paul Millsap is kind of undersized, and maybe he does not fit in the system of Doc Rivers, which is why right now we're hearing so many rumors that he could be on the move. In the first place, during the beginning of the season, the Brooklyn Nets ended up signing Paul Millsap, but he didn't end up being a factor or getting the consistent minutes that we wanted to see or what he wanted. So that's why he's going to be traded to a team that could potentially give him minutes as the starting caliber player, or if anything, go to a team that could simply be beneficial if needing a 16 NBA veteran to be in the locker room and just be an old head to of course mentor the younger players. Next up, we got Dennis Schroeder of the Houston Rockets, and during this year's NBA trade deadline, Dennis Schroeder ended up getting waived by the Houston Rockets after ultimately being traded from the Boston Celtics to Houston in exchange for Daniel Tice. As of right now, the Houston Rockets have been very vocal on saying they're building their future around, seriously, Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green. And of course, with Dennis Schroeder being an NBA vet and of course knows his value that he's not at that stage anymore, he's 28 years old and wants a fresh start, I do believe Dennis Schroeder will get bought out, and right now we're hearing multiple rumors that teams are interested, and I'm going to go with the Lakers as a big possible threat to of course bring back Dennis Schroeder for another potential championship run, because last year they couldn't go for the run because Anthony Davis was hurt, but now with him back, the possibility just opened up again. The next player is Tristan Thompson, who just got traded from the Kings to the Indiana Pacers. And as of right now, with the Pacers not playing for a playoff spot, Tristan Thompson, remember, was a part of the NBA playoffs for 3 straight years. And ever since then, he hasn't gotten back to the NBA Finals, which is why I do believe a buyout makes sense for Tristan, as he can immediately run to his best friend of LeBron James to join the Los Angeles Lakers. Tristan Thompson is known for his high motor, NBA experience, and high energy, especially on the offensive glass. And the Lakers right now just need that. Sometimes in their games, they're just too quiet. They're not as vocal, and that's why off the bench, Tristan Thompson could be a great beneficial factor to come on even over Dwight Howard, to be loud, to bring the energy, and just change the atmosphere. The next player on this list is John Wall of the Houston Rockets, and when talking about all of these buyout candidates, I believe John Wall immediately goes to the top because of his NBA experience, his all-star personality in game. But the question now is John Wall healthy? So far this season, John Wall has yet to play a single game for Houston, and during the beginning of the season, him and the Rockets came to a compromise that whatever they do, they're going to end up trying to get rid of John Wall this season and are going to respect John Wall to not play, encourage him to not play. So that's why some teams are just scared to target him for sure, but I do believe in my perspective, I would love to see and hear his story. But in my perspective, I would love to see John Wall on the move and going to a team where he would actually play and compete for a championship. The only problem with John Wall is that this season he's getting paid about $47 million. So of course, why would he want to opt out of that and take a discount? With John Wall not guaranteed a pretty good contract on his next one, John Wall is my personal favorite buyout candidate, and I would love to see him go to a contender, maybe the Lakers, the Clippers, or even the New York Knicks. So yes guys, this wraps up my video today talking about some potential candidates to enter the buyout market, of course in these upcoming few weeks. What's most important to me is I want to know your thoughts. Which of these players do you believe will sign where? And of course, are there any other potential buyout candidates anywhere? Put your thoughts down in the comments below. But other than that, take it easy, God bless, and I'll see you all next time on Easy Buckets. Woo!